Well, good day, everybody, and welcome to the program. Brad Miller with you on Countywide, and today our guest, a returning champion, if you will, is J.D. Maddy. J.D. is with the Astronomers of Verde Valley, and we've chatted with him in the past, and we'll talk again today about a number of things. J.D. is one of the guys locally, and there are quite a few of your membership in this area that look to the skies and kind of enjoy as a hobby and as a profession in some cases, taking a look at what is out there, and there's an awful lot to look at.
There is, and I wanted to first talk briefly about planet discoveries. It seems like every day now that new planets are being discovered, and some people may not understand the process that one has to go through to discover a planet. Many various ways to do that through obviously high-powered telescopes. The Hubble has been used quite a bit for discovering planets, as well as a lot of ground-based telescopes. But it's kind of interesting. A planet just doesn't appear, and they just don't discover it overnight. It's actually takes a long time of watching a star to see if there's something amiss about it, or maybe something causing that planet or that star to dim and such.
There's no more just look up and, hey, what's that? It's mine.
Exactly.
Now, just in the news, and I'm sure this is what you're referring to, I think even just last week there was some announcement. I'm not sure which telescope it was, but found over this process and during this time period, but came out with a report of like 40 or so planets. Now, these, explained to me, are not necessarily in our galaxy. Well, no, I mean, they're in our galaxy, but not in our solar system.
Correct. Okay. Yes, obviously now the large telescopes are trained on these stars night after night after night. And as they observe these stars, they will notice dips in brightness, very slight dips in brightness. And that means that if it's not a variable star, they can determine that usually if it's a star that's brightening up or dimming, just because that's what happens. They're called variable stars. Okay. But the star will slightly dip in brightness. So that means that something's possibly passing in front of it, causing that. Now, it could be another small star, or it could be a large body. Now, up until, say, about a couple of years ago, the planets that were discovered were very large, Jupiter-sized planets, and even sometimes 10 times the size of Jupiter. But these distances, these stars are very far away, and this dimness as this object passes in front of the star is very slight. So it takes a lot of study over a long period of time to determine if indeed there is something there. And
that's how these new 40, or is 40 right?
Something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, I wasn't clear on exactly how many, but they were found through this method and maybe some others, or all of the above?
Yeah, kind of all of the above.
Probably use one method to find it, another to confirm it, yet another to confirm it again.
And there's many amateurs that play parts in, because even a small, say a 14 to 16 inch size telescope now with a CCD camera can help with the research and discovering these planets as well.
Well, just to the level that consumer level telescopes have gotten.
Correct.
Are incredible. One of the shows that your club did, the Astronomers of Verde Valley, that I attended, it was incredible what we could see. I mean, you could look at Saturn and see the rings through JD's telescope.
Oh,
It's really cool.
Yes.
Really something, and it's such a valuable resource to have here in the Verde Valley, and I know you do public programs from time to time. We'll chat about that. Back to these planets real quick. Now, these 40, I think, I don't know how many they found, but I think it was 40 or so that are in that so-called Goldilocks zone. Tell us what that's.
Well, if a galaxy, most galaxies have a very tight, very dense population of stars in the center. So it's very hot, a lot of radiation and such. So you couldn't survive that. So the Goldilocks zone is the planet or solar system has to be far enough out from the core of the galaxy, but not too far out. It has to be far enough out that this radiation won't basically fry you.
Close, but not too close.
Exactly.
Like Goldilocks, this one's just right.
Exactly.
And
the same thing with the planet from its host star. Has to be in a zone too as well. And fortunately, we're in a life zone here.
And I was going to say, and the underlying theme is, when they make these announcements, is the possibility of maybe not life, but conditions.
Conditions that could support life.
That could support life at some point. Well, that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
It's interesting. It just seems like that's always kind of the underlying question. No matter what kind of research we hear, no matter what we see come down the pipe, even the Mars mission that NASA is hoping to do. there's always that element, and I don't know if that's the carrot stick thing to keep everyone interested. I'm not saying it's not really true, but it just seems like that's always really the underlying question of everything that goes on, is the notion that perhaps life exists.
Are we not alone?
I'm going to put you on the spot. What do you think? You look to the stars an awful lot.
Well, you just never know. It's just with the billions and trillions of stars out there, you would think that there's some type of life somewhere else.
Numerically, it just seems
exactly
the numbers indicate that there's probably something going on.
Possibility.
Maybe someday we'll know. I wanted, if we could, JD, to talk too. Now, there was a little fuss here around holiday time for folks in the astrology community that, celestially speaking, things have changed. And it even, I heard it said that if you were born a Taries or a Pisces or what have you, that has kind of changed because the alignments of the star. I don't know what's changed out there. You'll tell us that.
I'm not an astrologer. I don't know a lot about astrology, but there's a term called precession, and it's basically movement of the solar system around the galaxy. There's several types of precession. We don't necessarily need to get into all the different types of precession, but as the Earth and the solar system moves through our galaxy, around our galaxy, which, by the way, takes 200 million years to take one revolution around, the stars with respect to Earth change. So in other words, as we move, also the sun moves along with us. So whereas, say, I think now the sun is in Capricornus, so it's over a period of hundreds and thousands of years, that precession moves things with respect to us. So things are changing a little bit, whereas the original zodiac was, say, from the 15th to the 15th of the month type of thing. Now it's bumped a little bit because of this precession, so now it's roughly the 18th of the month.
Okay. So, I mean, it's not unlike you're driving down a highway in a car. The scenery changes as you pass it.
Exactly.
Magnify that scale by, a few times, larger and a bit, slow, well, faster speed-wise, but slower relatively speaking. Yeah. And you get that. So in that sense, to me, it makes sense.
It's very slight, but there again, over thousands of years. In other words, precession, the Polaris is known as our North Star.
Right.
Although it's not exactly in the position of the North Star, it's been moving slightly over the centuries. And in roughly 12 or 14,000 years, Vega will be our North Star. So things are changing with respect to the solar system.
Now this, to me, it all seemed kind of good-natured, and I don't think anybody got too kind of excited. I mean, if you're born under a certain sign, if you are into the astrology thing, that's going to be what you are. And for some folks, it's very serious. Yeah. But say a baby born today, will they, essentially be different because the dates in the calendar move you into one or another? I don't know either.
Some believe that. I don't
so
there again, I'm not that much of an astrologer.
I don't want to get in trouble either, so let's not speculate.
But what's fascinating is is the way we've set up our 12-month calendar. Years and years and years ago, there were some calendars that observed 13 months. In fact, we were at a star party at Karshner Caverns this past fall, and one of our popular trivia questions, of course, I'm giving the trivia question away now. Everyone's going to know, is what is the 13th zodiacal constellation? The sun actually travels through 13 constellations, but it's not really recognized in our 12-month calendar. And that month, or that constellation is Ophiuchus.
Okay.
And he used to be called, way back when, Serpentarius as well. He's a serpent bearer. Ophiuchus basically means serpent bearer. And he was actually I think the only astrological, zodiacal sign that was modeled after a real man.
Really?
He was actually a person of medicine, a medical man. Way back when.
And so as we all kind of popularly adopted the 12-month calendar, he just got dropped. It almost sounds like for convenience sake. Well, we only have 12 of these, and we've got 13. So let's let the humans sit.
Yeah. Well, the sun only stays in Ophiuchus for I think 19 days or something like that. So it's not a full month period that it stays there, and it's actually between Sagittarius and Scorpius.
Fascinating. JD, we have to take a short break. The program always goes so quickly when our guest, JD Maddy, is with us, and he is today Astronomers of Verde Valley, and we'll talk about some of the things that you can see from the night sky in our area when we come back to Countywide right after this.